Okay, today we're going to be doing some samples. We're ready with our misses, our labels, and we're going to be working with our preservatives, GeoGuard. My surfactants are sodium lauryl ethyl sulfate at 70%, Coco Glucoside, and Coco betaine at 30%. So we're going to do single surfactant blends, and then we're going to thicken them, and then we're going to do some we're going to do single surfactant, and then we're going to do combined surfactants. So each of these are slightly different. Coco betaine is an amphoteric surfactant. I believe Coco Glucoside is non-ionic, and then of course we've got our ionic sodium lauryl sulfate group. So let's get to this. Okay, before I get started here today, I just want to share with you a little bit about my crazy day. I am finishing up the end of module 2 in my cosmetic chemistry studies and just rounding out the end of the surfactants. And so today I'm going to show you some of the materials that I've been working with, and if you like them, maybe when you see how they work, you can try them in your own formulations. Now, an ideal body wash, just like an ideal soap, is made up of different surfactants that provide different qualities to the final product. So when you're working with the sodium lauryl sulfates, for example, they're very powerful anionics, unlike the carboxylic salts, which are the natural soaps that most of you are probably more familiar with, the soaps made with sodium hydroxide that go through the saponification process. Well, these are really wonderful, really mild actually as compared to those in many ways, and naturally derived synthetics, most of them. So I'm okay with that. If you're not, stick with your naturally derived materials, which are things that are made with certain processes. So if anything is sulfonated, if anything goes through a process where it's ethoxylated, again, it's might have a natural beginning, but it definitely is synthetically derived. So not synthetically produced. All right, so today oh my goodness, I did so much, and I am so tired, and I am set up finally to do this. I'm really excited to share it with you. I'm getting ready to go back to Morocco for a wedding, and maybe I'll do some teaching while I'm there. I'm really excited to get to know some people that I've recently come in contact with that I have a lot in common with, and really excited to get to know them. I'm going to be traveling with my daughter Jessica, and we're just going to be doing really fun things. A very different trip this time. I'm not going to be traveling in a private vehicle. We're going to be using the public transit system for the most part. I will have my own car because at least they drive on the right side, which I can handle for the most part. I just did a big old long trip to Yellowstone on my own, which I haven't done in forever, and so I'm confident I can drive. So I'll share those adventures with you as well. There's going to be a lot of stuff on here still with my Yellowstone adventures. Hopefully you'll get some kind of inspiration for your designs and your cosmetics and your soap and your, because that's where I get my inspiration from, is things that I see. Right now I'm working on a formulation for lash growth factor. I'm working with liposomes and some really fun active ingredients from making cosmetics. Yeah, really fun stuff. And so I'm growing them out so they're not fake right now. No extensions for a while. We'll see if we actually start to see some thickening and growth, and I'll share that with you in a basic formulation if you're interested. We're using hexapeptides and we're putting them in a liposome, which I'm hoping will give us better penetration and better efficacy, because we want it to work, right? That's the whole thing. We really want it to work. And some of the some of the ingredients are just impossible to get unless you spend thousands of dollars, and I've already spent hundreds of dollars on tiny little quantities of some of these things, and it's really exciting to be able to put it together in a proper serum now that I'm at that stage in my career, in my studies, where I kind of know what I'm doing. But this particular module, the surfactants, which includes emulsifiers as well as bubbling surfactants, has been something I've spent a lot of time on, and I would say I've spent probably more on this than I did on regulations and fragrances and all the other things, because this is where my 30 years of experience is coming into play. Now, if you're interested, I have been working a lot with serums as well, and last night I did a facelift. So if you see my deep grooves in my forehead are nearly gone. If you want to know how to do that, if you're over 50 and you're starting to see thicker areas of your skin or thinner areas of your skin, and how to combat that effective aging, because our cells just don't put themselves back together the right way the older we get. And that's one of the things I picked up when I was doing a lot of my deep dive studies with Formula Botanica and the aging skin diploma that I worked on. Hyaluronic acid is your friend, people. Edelweiss extract is another one that I really am having fun with. So if you've seen me use those in my formulations, I'll show you how to do like your overnight facelift if you're interested. It's something I do probably whenever my skin starts to feel rough, starts to feel creased, starts to feel like I need to reset it. So I know how to do that, and I'd love to share it with you. I do things every day. Hyaluronic acid is a part of my everyday humectant regime, but I also seal it and put on a good occlusive and other emollients. So it all depends on your face type. If you're interested in that, let me know. So let's get back into washing materials, and yeah, let me show you what I'm doing. I'm working with a new gimbal. I think that's what these things are called, and I haven't attached it to my Bluetooth, so please be patient with me as I slowly figure it out. So there's a little update on what I've been doing if you're interested. If not, you can always fast forward. All right, here we go. So down to the drawing room. So we've got all of our surfactants and my sample bottles ready to go. Now I'm just going to work with this. Now, one thing you always want to have is when you're doing samples and you're doing testing and you're working with a new material, you want to label all of your jars. You want to label all of your liquids, because they basically all look the same. Okay, so get a good labeler. It's a good tool to have if you're going to be doing some of this kind of stuff too with your new surfactants. I will also be going into the taurites. I've got 2 different taurites that I'm going to be playing with when I get into the hair section. That's something I've been studying ahead with. Let me show you a new taurite I picked up. Okay, that's a methyl isothianate. Isothionates are really good too. Here it is. So this is sodium methyl lauryl taurate. So I showed you the other one. It was a liquid formula of taurate. Now I've got another taurate, and if you look, they have the same INCI, yet they're vastly different. So INCI isn't going to tell you a whole lot. It is going to give you a starting place to go, but you're going to need to have to check your supplier's information to actually start to formulate and use the right materials. All right, so what I'm going to do is work on my assessment. Now, I can't tell you what the ratios of this are because it's part of a proprietary formula, but I'll let you watch me, okay? So we're going to tear as I go along. Now, the first one I'm going to be making, okay, I just need to close this out, is I think what I'll do is I'm going to measure out my phase. My phase A is going to be my water and my preservative. So let's do that first. So we're going to use, what I'm using here is GeoGuard. So I'm going to measure that out. Oop. And this is why I have all of this set up. I don't know why that happened. I think I'll go get a pipette for this one since it's just not working with the pour it out. I'll be right back. I absolutely love having this. This is my traveling cosmetic chemistry set. Isn't that cool? That is so cool, isn't it? All right, so we're going to measure out some of this GeoGuard. And we're just going to get the proper amount. Nearly there. There we go. Now that's a sterile pipette, so yes, I can put it back, but I can't use it for anything else. All right, so I got that there. And okay, let me just do some calculations. Okay. All right, so we're going to measure out our water. Okay. So a lot of water here. Okay. And this one's going to be Coco Glucoside. Thick stuff. Cool. I only have small bottles of Coco Glucoside right now, so I'm sure I will bring it back. I tend to use a lot of the materials that are provided in the kit once I've learned how to use them properly, because they are some of the best ingredients. They provide a much more superior product to you know, what I've done in the past with the limited knowledge I've had. So, you know, don't be afraid to try these materials. Don't go hog wild and get too many of them. But yeah, I'm just gonna stir these. Okay, I've got a broken stir. Okay. So you want to keep it from bubbling too much. They're doing pretty good, actually. This, I've never had one of these break before. Oh, it's actually like, yeah, I think this one's had it. This is one of my newer ones too. So we're just gonna do the hand, hold it in my hand, and I think we're just gonna have to let that go. The other pieces should work. This one is just, a gentle stirring is really all we need. Okay, just going to really get down there. Coco Glucoside. Of course, my lights are doing flicking things. Sorry about that if you're picking up on that on the screen. I'm going to do each of these in a separate video just to give you a break in between. But this is Coco Glucoside. Now what I'm going to do here is I'm going to show you the viscosity of this. It's pretty watery, as you can see. I'm not sure if it's salt sensitive. I'm going to look that up and I'll get right back to you. Woo! Sorry about that. Okay, so let's talk a little bit about Coco Glucoside while I'm getting it to mix here. Actually, this works a little better. Coco Glucoside is derived from coconuts, and it has a number of uses. It works really well for all skin and hair types, and you'll find it a lot in natural skincare. It's made by reacting fatty alcohol derivative of coconut oil and sugar glucose. Now that doesn't make a whole lot of sense probably, but it can also be made synthetically in the lab. So if you're looking for an all-natural product, this might not be. This is more of a naturally derived synthetic, but it does come from coconut. It's not a petrochemical byproducts surfactant. And in a formulation you use it for, of course, because it's a surfactant, a cleansing micellar surfactant, sudsing. We love it for its bubbles. It's not something you would use in a lotion, of course. This is something that you want to use in a rinse-off product. Coco Glucoside is cleansing. It has some emulsifying properties because it is a surfactant. It foams, as you can see, and it is also used quite a bit for its hair conditioning properties, as well as, like I said before, as a surfactant. Now, emulsifiers, these are also surfactants. They go under the same umbrella of chemical descriptor, but they're used for vastly different things. So for cosmetic chemists, we specifically call this type of product a surfactant. So it's fairly safe, and but of course some skin types can, of course, find irritation in it. So it's kind of a golden color as compared to the other two. Yeah, I've seen it in so many different products. Now there's another product called Deco Glucoside. That's another Coco Glucoside derivative. It has a pH of about 11. Obviously it's soluble in water, which we want it to be. And it's got a very thick viscosity in the bottle at the but we don't use them that way. We use them thin. So on its own, it's not thick. I'm not sure if it is reactive to salt. Let's see. Let me just do a little more research. All right. So the first thing you want to do if you want to thicken something is you need to adjust the pH. Now, from what I've seen of this material, pH of 5.5 is ideal. So I'm going to take half of my formulation. Let's see if we can thicken it up just by adjusting the pH. So let's check our pH first, which is something we have to do anyway. Seems pretty high. Now remember that Coco Glucoside about a 10. So we are at about a 9 with the addition of water. So that water brought it down, as well as maybe perhaps even the preservative, the GeoGuard. So we've got some citric acid here. And we're just going to add a drop at a time because it's such a tiny amount. See what that does to our viscosity. Now that affected clarity right away. So it went from being this kind of murky to perfectly clear. Do you see that? See how pH has a big role to play in these types of surfactants. Now, if you are working with a natural surfactant or one of the carboxyl salts, say made with potassium hydroxide and olive oil, one of the most popular ones. Where's my stirring stick? Here it is. I'm seeing additional clarity. If it's getting thicker or not. Let's see what our pH is now. I really have to set up my pH meter because, let me tell you, oh, it's changed quite a bit. So we're getting into the 5, between 4 and 5. Yeah. So I can't go down any further. And it didn't really affect viscosity there. That was really cool to see the difference in clarity just from that change in pH. All right, so I'm going to label these, and I'm going to share any information you have about Coco Glucoside. Let me know in the description. I'm going to give you a bubble test here. So I'm just going to put that citric acid solution back. We're going to do like a lather test, don't we? It's kind of hard to do with a thin product. We get some bubbles. See what happens when we add a little water. Get some water in there. Again, we've got some bubbles. Would that make a product that you would want to buy on the market? Is that got enough bubbles for you? I'm sure it has plenty of cleansing power, but would that do it for you when it comes to bubbles? Maybe not? All right, something to think about. All right. Whoop. If you enjoyed this, click like and subscribe. I'm going to be working with SLES, which is a powerful anionic. And you're going to see the difference, why we as formulators like these products so much. Not only are they inexpensive, but they have fantastic bubble factor. And people good consumer loves bubbles. I love bubbles. But we have to figure out a way to buffer it to make it more mild. Now this is a very mild product. I believe it's a non-ionic. I still didn't answer that, did I? Let me just look it up really quick. Yes, I was right. It's a plant-derived, non-ionic, natural surfactant. Naturally derived, at least. So I hope you enjoyed this. I am going to take this as deep as I can because, you know, I'm a soap maker and I love bubbles. So bubbles, my bees, I should give you an update on my bees. They're doing really, really well. But as with any project, this needs to sit overnight. And I have to label them. So one has been pH has been brought way down. I can always raise it again if it doesn't like that. I have to do some more research, but this was fun playing with Coco Glucoside again. I usually use it in a blend because to make a proper body wash, you need an anionic surfactant. You need a non-ionic surfactant to provide mildness, which this does, and also boost foam. And if you have lots and lots of money, or you can formulate to your heart's content and you want to make a luxe product, you can add 1 or 2 non-ionics and maybe even an amphoteric. So we're going to be playing with Coco Betaine probably tomorrow, and of course I'm really looking forward to trying out sodium lauryl ether sulfate. That's a new one for me. I've been, sticking to mostly the carboxylic naturally derived materials for many years, because those are the ones I can make myself. These surfactants haven't been widely available, and so it's really fun to see them finally finding a supplier that I can play with and have that pH adjustment ability so that it can match the microbiome of the skin and be a little milder that way too. If you enjoyed this, please click like and subscribe and come on back, because I'm going to be formulating a lot. I'm hoping to finish my degree by the end of September. I'm going to do some serious studying while I'm in Morocco. I'm not doing tours. I have my own studio there. We're staying in a luxury accommodation. We have our own pool. I don't know how we managed to get our own, what are they called? It's not an apartment, it's a home, and the homes in Morocco are called, I can't think of it. Anyway, they're huge. So I'm going to be staying hopefully in a nice, big, spacious space where I have, I can think and really, bring all my materials with me. I've ordered extra materials just so I have enough to complete my studies and work on my final formulations and my final. I know I have to do a reverse engineer of a product off the shelf, which I've already been thinking about and have done a lot of notes in preparation for that. I'm gonna make a luxury shampoo and try to make that Regis Cashmere if I can, because it's no longer on the market. It's my favorite shampoo, and I think I might have a tiny little sample of it that I can use to compare it to. If not, I'll have to go with something new. And I did get a new one when I was down in the States, somebody's daughter shampoo. I'll have to share that with one of you as I test that. But yeah, it's going to be fun. My other possible reverse engineer is a Lush product called, they no longer make it. It's a foot cream called, I can't think of the name of it anymore, but it's got, I have already, I've got the sample. I actually created this years ago, and it would be fun to make it on a larger scale now that I know for a fact that it actually is, shelf stable for like 15 years. Pied de pepper, that's what it was called. So yeah, I will be working on a pied de pepper formulation as well, but I really would like to do a nice long quality shampoo for my final assessment, comparable to the Regis brand. We'll see what I can do. If you enjoyed this, again, click like and subscribe. I know I'm scatterbrained. I'm over 50 and in school, so with all the other jobs that I have like 4 jobs, just trying to put myself through school, and loving every minute of it. And I hope that you're enjoying this journey with me, and we'll see y'all next time. Bye.